Top 10 richest men in history. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and Jeff Bezos are the 3 richest men in the world. But who else is on the list of the richest men to ever exist? This list represents only a few individuals who were so wealthy that their net worth is unknown or uncalculated. Keeping this in mind, here are 10 extremely wealthy people from different parts of the world who never had any trouble gaining significant amount of money and stabilizing their own status throughout history. Number 10. William the Conqueror. Back then, people knew him as William the Bastard or William the Conqueror. They called him the Bastard as they thought he was a descendant of Viking invaders, which explains why he got his knack for invasion. He was the first king of England who ruled between 1066 and 1087 when he died. He was the Norman king of England, and history records him as one of the richest men of all time. William the Conqueror had 229.5 billion. Number 9. Mir Osman Ali Khan. Among the richest people in history is the ruler of princely state of Hyderabad, which was the largest state in British India. He was the last Nizam of Hyderabad and ruled between 1911 to 1948. It is reported that, apart from being a good leader, he was one of the wealthiest people of all time. Time magazine labeled him as the richest person at the time and the richest Indian ever. Many people remember him as a man who introduced airways, railways, and roads, and established numerous public institutions. He is also remembered for having donated millions of his rupees to help the vulnerable in society and to build educational and religious institutions in India. His estimated net worth is 230 billion. Number 8. Nicholas II of Russia. One of the richest people who ever lived on the face of the earth was Nicholas II of Russia, who is popularly known as Nicholas the Bloody or Saint Nicholas the Passion Bearer. He was the last emperor of Russia who ruled between 1894 to 1917, when he was forced to abdicate. During his reign, Russia suffered economically and its military power dwindled. Most historians paint a picture of a weak and incompetent ruler whose decision led to the death of millions of his subjects and military defeats. Though much has been said about his tenure, his resources were virtually incalculable, but it's reported that Nicholas II of Russia's net worth was around 300 billion. Number 7. Andrew Carnegie. Carnegie was born in 1835 and died in 1919. He was a Scottish-American industrialist who oversaw the expansion of American steel industry in the late 19th century. He is remembered not just for his wealth but as a leading philanthropist of his time, donating all his fortune of 350 million, which today would be equivalent to $60 million, to the British-American empires. It's estimated that Andrew Carnegie's net worth was 372 billion. Number 6. John D. Rockefeller. Did you know who the wealthiest American of all time is? Well, John D. Rockefeller is the richest American in history. He was born in 1839 and died in 1937. John D. Rockefeller was a business magnate and philanthropist. He made his money by controlling 90% of oil sales in United States. He also made lots of wealth from railway industry. In 1911, he became the first American billionaire, and in 1913, his net worth was estimated to be around 418 billions. By 1937, Rockefeller's fortune was estimated to be around 1.4 trillion. Today, the Rockefeller family, which is an American political, industrial, and banking family, owns one of the world's largest fortunes and is considered one of the world's most powerful families with a net worth of more than 10 billion. Number 5. Augustus Caesar, the first emperor of the Roman Empire, who was both a military leader and a statesman, was one of the richest individuals that ever lived. His reign was from 27 before Christ to 14 Anno Domini. During his reign, he enlarged the empire, conquering Dalmatia, Egypt, Raetia, Noricum, Pannonia, and Africa, and completing his quest in Hispania. Caesar Augustus was one of the ancient Rome's most successful leaders who led the transformation of Rome from a republic to an empire. During his reign, Augustus restored peace and prosperity to the Roman state and changed nearly every aspect of Roman life. It's recorded that his personal fortune was 20% of the entire empire economy, which was worth around 4.63 trillion. Number 4. Akbar I. The renewed ruler of the Mughal Empire, who reigned from 1556 to 1605, is one of the richest people who have ever lived. As a direct descendant of Genghis Khan, he had ruling and conquering in his blood. He worked hard from the moment he took the throne to conquer as much territory as possible, tripling it in his size by the end of his rule, known as the Mughal Empire. He conquered hundreds of thousands of square miles of what is today known as the Indian subcontinent. His power and influence, which were aided by his political, cultural, and economic dominance, saw him control nearly 25% of the world's GDP, which is equivalent today to 21 trillion. Number 3. Emperor Shenzong of Song. Emperor Shenzong of Song, who goes by the name of Zhao Shu, runner-up for the most wealthy person in history. He was the 6th emperor of the Song dynasty in China and ruled between 1067 and 1085. Lucky for him, this was during an extremely affluent and prosperous era of China. They were the top maker of bronze in the world, and farmers were granted the right to own their own property. The production of rice skyrocketed and became a staple of the economy, making them economical superpower. In addition to this, gunpowder, printing, and magnetic compass were invented. During this time, the Song dynasty was able to create the world's first paper money and also formed the world's first navy. The navy allowed them to defend their trade routes, which protected their products. With all this innovation, Emperor Shenzong controlled 30% of the global GDP, with a highly centralized economy with a net worth of 30 trillion. Number 2. Genghis Khan. He is the Genghis Emperor and the founder of the Mongol Empire. The first Mongol king conquered 12 million square kilometers of lands, and his empire became the largest contiguous empire in history. He united many Asians, conquering nearly all of Eurasia. He is one of the leaders who massacred civilian populations during campaigns. His wealth is equal to 3 times the combined net worth of all the companies in the world. Genghis Khan's net worth, adjusted for the present day, is 120 trillion US dollar, making him one of the most richest men in history. Number 1. Mansa Musa. Ever heard of the Golden King? The man is Mansa Musa of Mali. He was born in 1280 and became a ruler of the Malian Empire during 1312. The 14th century West African ruler who is described as the most generous ruler who wreaked havoc on his entire country's economy and had implication in the Middle East and Europe as well. His wealth was so enormous that no one really knew how much of it he had, and it's just impossible to pin down a number. Though he is not celebrated as much, since it's said he dished out his wealth to other people out there rather than developing his own kingdom. The schools, libraries, and mosques he built still stand to this day. He is the person credited with kick-starting the tradition of education in West Africa. He is one of whose wealth indescribable. Let me know how all of you feel about this information. Leave your thoughts down below. Make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on any and all information around the world. I want to thank all of you for stopping by and watching Top 10 Richest Men in History. I hope you all have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye.